Dobro večer. Good evening. We have a guest, Jeff. Jeff, could you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. So my name is Jeff. I work here at CERN. I'm in charge of all teacher training programs, which has completed the Serbian teacher program. So I have the best job at CERN. Yeah. Many people claim that they have the best job at CERN. I have the best job at CERN. I get to welcome about 1,000 teachers from all around the world who come to CERN every year, and we expose them to what's going on at CERN, so that then the students hopefully profit of this program as well.
I'm doing interview at the end of the program, so I'm very satisfied, very pleased that you're the leader, always smiling, and you make smile contagious.
So, that's nice. I will put that on my website.
Okay. Okay. Well, the first questions is what children has asked.
Okay.
From my school.
Yeah.
When did you become interested in technology and science, and how old were you at the time?
Good question. Well, I was always interested in kind of everything. I was like at high school level, I was like, I didn't have something I didn't like. So science was part of this bouquet of things that I looked at. But there were also music and other topics and sports. But then at the latest, I would say at the age of 17, we got a new teacher, a new physics teacher, and this changed everything. It's always the teachers who change and influence students. So we had a new teacher, fresh from university, full of crazy ideas, and within 1 year, I was like, okay, I knew science was interesting, but after this 1 year, it was physics is the big love. So that was clear.
Great. So there was a science teacher that influenced you?
There were many teachers, but there was one science teacher, or physics teacher in this case, who, just within 1 year showed me all the amazing things one can do with physics. It was awesome.
Can you remember what did he do to encourage you to do physics? Some method that he used?
Well, he was very empirically driven, so he did a lot of experiments, but not necessarily for the sake of doing experiments. He really prepared them very well, and he had us students work together and discuss and hypothesize about outcomes of what we can do, and also discuss how we can do it better. And so this collaborative effort was very much in there. So it was not us doing something individually. And also he was a young teacher fresh from university. He had crazy ideas, some of which didn't work actually, but it still showed us that there is someone who is really motivated and he really cared. You could really feel that he had a lot of empathy and cared about us.
That's so great. I'm so satisfied with that answer, because I'm a teacher.
Of course,
physics,
yes, exactly.
And I see that in my pupils that they also appreciate that you have some ideas, something new add up.
Nice.
Excellent. Was anyone from your environment, such siblings, parents, or relatives, also interested in science?
Okay. Well, my whole family, everyone is a teacher. Everyone, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, all of them are teachers, except for my sister, who is a lawyer, black sheep in the family. My uncle was a physics teacher, so he very early on brought science into the conversation. But I think within the family, he was really the only one who really was the science nerd. He then also, when I developed an interest, he really helped me a lot and just supported me in figuring out whether I want to go in physics or not. And in the end,
that's so great. Yes. Yeah. And you are now passing on to the generation new physics teachers. So
exactly.
You have very large impact in your family.
Exactly, and I enjoy really with my job the impact I have, as you say, because we want to reach the students. But we cannot get all the students here, so we have to consider who are the most important stakeholders, and they are you. They are the physics teachers, and so that's why with our job we really have a huge impact on the students around the world.
How do you feel that the impact that you have on physics teachers, and then someone who is interested in physics from students, that will be next physicist that can fit in the next CERN project that are building, and that is work in progress?
Exactly.
How do you feel that? Do you feel that you are pulling a very big contribute to the science in the future?
Yes.
Are you aware of that?
Well, it's our goal,
Yes.
but I have to be super precise. And we have really students who now work at CERN, and they really credit their teachers who came to our programs, who told them about CERN, and then eventually they landed here. This is, of course, the perfect outcome. But it's not what we are aiming for every student. Not every student should go into STEM.
Yes. Only to
But
support it to have that goal and some direction.
I mean, for those who want to go into STEM, fantastic, and we want to have as many of them as possible, but all of our students will become members of society. So
Yes.
the more science awareness they have, the better for us as a society,
Yes,
because
as a global, yes.
they will vote, they will pay taxes, and so you want to know what is scientifically sound and not go into areas that might not be so productive.
To have a critical thinking.
Exactly this, critical thinking, also discerning between fake news and news, for
Yes.
example. So this is our overarching aim. But of course, every student who eventually arrives at CERN and pushes our work forward, because after all,
Yes.
we need the next generation of scientists here, is a success story for us.
Yes, that's very reassuring, because me as a teacher, I see in this age of mobile phone and scrolling, a very big deficiency in attention within students. But I see the bright eyes of some students that have critical thinking, and we need to make them bridge to have a safe way, because they're very bright, and they will easily get where they want. But just to remind them they're not alone, and they have support.
Absolutely, yes, and I fully agree.
I interviewed several scientists, and they also have that same point in that early age, that someone from teachers supported them. They have them on their side, and so they pursue that interest in science. That's so nice.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
I think we are privileged because of that.
Privileged, and there's a lot of importance on your role, because we know from research that the most influential aspect in the education journey of a student is the teacher. And we need the best teachers possible. So I'm very happy that you were here with us.
Yes, I'm very proud. Yes. Do you believe that people are born with a natural curiosity?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, my daughter is now 3.5 years old, and every baby that comes to this world is curious to explore the world, to figure out what's happening here. So I think this is also survival mode. And I think now my daughter is 3.5 years old, so she's exactly in this why phase. So she asks everything about why. She's the kid of 2 physicists, so it's very easy to shut her down, because after a while of explaining why is this, we always arrive at because of the Big Bang. And then she shuts up, so she never asks beyond that. So she's very well trained. So yes, absolutely. Humans are curious. This is inherent to us. Unfortunately, what we see is during the education at high school level, this curiosity gets watered down, and sometimes students even lose it. And I'm afraid it has to do with too many different subjects, too much topics crammed into each other, and at some point we are not letting students, explore their curiosity, and we are forcing them into learn this. There's an exam, it's a test. All of this is important, but especially in science, I feel like we are losing a little bit too many students to...
Yes, they're losing that interest, that curiosity. I have a book from my professor from university, Ivan Anichin. He wrote a book about data analysis in physics. And on, I think, a second page, there is one graphic showing a picture of one child, one kid, spinning, how do you say, spinner, not spinner, spinning a toy.
Fidget spinner, or
something like that. And some scientists also kneeling near him and watching it with close attention. Both of them watching with close attention, while rest of the world passing by and not having interest. So that's a freshman year. So that's a reminder that scientists and children have the same mindset of curiosity.
Yes. So exactly. And we have to make sure to preserve it as long as possible.
Yes. Finally, do you have a message for students? Should they pursue science interest if they have interest?
Yeah, well, yes. I personally, this is my opinion, I think it's very difficult for a high school student or in the developing phase of, let's say, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old to quickly figure out what they want from this life. It's very difficult. The world is complicated. So if students think they might go into science, then definitely please try it out. But then my big advice is to not get overwhelmed too quickly, because we all know, especially learning how to use the language of science, which is mathematics, and how to deal with very abstract concepts sometimes can be very overwhelming. And that's why we see a lot of dropout rates. Really, we can have as many students starting, the dropout rate is very high. And so I feel like sometimes science is not for everyone, and then they should find something else. But sometimes we are losing too many students who might be perfect scientists to the first entry step. And so this is my huge recommendation to everyone who asks me to stay curious, but then nothing, especially in science, but no subject is easy to study. You have to put in the work, and there's no topic you can study without putting in the work. And especially in the beginning, staying curious, and then the most important message is science, or especially physics, is no longer just, physics. Like a few years ago, people would say, study physics and you will become a physicist. This is no longer true. You study physics, and once you have a degree in physics, you can go into research, you can go into fundamental research, applied research, you can go into industry. I have many people who did a PhD here at CERN, they now work in the banking industry. You can go in every direction. And of course, there are different topics one can study, but I think especially physics or science in general opens up so many doors that it's really worth trying. So that's my my view.
And lastly, what would be your advice that you give to your 12-year-old self, if you could travel back to past and see just one? What would you say to yourself?
Oh, I will give you an answer, but you will not like the answer. I would be really afraid talking to this. So I'm afraid of time travel because we know I would alter the course of history completely.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm
good answer.
I feel like I'm living the dream. I'm so lucky. I'm so happy. I would not want to risk changing it. And I'd rather talk to myself now and say, because people always think, what if you travel back and change the course of history? What if you change the history now by going forward? So I'd rather do this and just try to enjoy life even more and appreciating everything in this very crazy and sometimes very upsetting world. To look at the positive, at the bright side.
I really like the way you think.
It was a little bit of a sneaky answer, but that's how I feel.
But it's a good answer that physicists would give. Well, thank you.
With pleasure, thank you.
My students thank you also, because they came up with the questions.
Oh, very good questions.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hvala.
Odlično, bravo.